Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be offering you Akashic Records guidance, particularly when it comes to aligning with your soul, with your soul's path for the next year. But this collective reading is essentially timeless, and you can definitely use it at the beginning of a new month, new cycle. If you're not familiar with the records are this giant or infinite library of the soul. They are connected to each soul and the soul's journey, whether it's past, present, and future. And really the best use of the records is for that spiritual guidance, soul level point of view. Although there is healing every time we step into the energy in the field of the Akasha. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'm Anika Ray, and I'm an Akashic Records teacher, certified professional reader. I've been working and reading the records for myself and others for the past 13 years, and I'm really excited to dive deeper into this topic. We are going to be working with questions, and the questions are definitely the best way to tap into the records. Just so that you know, I'm already in my own records. I use a conscious, deliberate, and responsible way to access the records. And I will leave the links in the description in case you're interested in seeing what that is, what method I use, and maybe joining some of my free classes that are informational to see if this is really for you. Because the records are definitely a spiritual resource above all, available to all of us. Now, we are going to jump into this collective reading. Again, I'm in my own records, but because we are connected in consciousness, this should resonate with you. Now, this format is really going to be question and answer. I'm going to leave the timestamps for you to check out each question. If some of them seem more aligned with you, that's okay. If they don't, that's okay as well. Now, before we jump into the questions, the first message is coming from the records as far as the next year, to really see it as an opportunity for you to explore more of what you are drawn to. And that drawn to is really the energy of the heart, the energy of the soul, pulling you in a certain direction that could be really useful, helpful, expansive for you. A lot has to do with really relationship with self and others. And if you follow my channel, at the beginning, I do like a monthly sort of breakdown. And I know this has come out in previous readings. So make sure you subscribe and like, and you will be notified of all the new readings that come out. So the monthly reading could be very useful to you, but that's what they're bringing about. It is this almost like they're calling it rebuilding or renewing the relationship with self. And that's going to kind of touch on, relationship with others and relationship in different areas of life. Now, I want to make sure that when this is said to you, this is not about predictions. It is more about, empowerment. And so it's really like an empowerment suggestion, right? That to sort of like pay attention to relationship with yourself and this space of rebuilding. And part of this, the reason why they're pointing you into this direction is because there is a depth that you can find with the relationship with yourself that can be really, when it is healthy, and I know a lot of us know this, but when the relationship with yourself is healthy, then the relationships with others can be also fruitful and inspiring as well. So even if you have that great relationship with self, or you think you do, there is this level of depth that you can find as you really explore what you're drawn to. So essentially, it is really an opening to deeper levels of personal growth, and a lot around that really patterns and patterning that we have seen from the past. There is the need to really dig out And it's really not digging out, that's been already there. But if you feel you've been working on some patterns from childhood, from past, from karmic past, right? It's going to come up to surface. You're really ready for it, and it's going to elevate or really rebuild that relationship with self and impact in a positive way relationships with others. Okay, so that was like a little introduction. There was a need for me to bring this message out to you. And now we're going to jump into the questions. And question number 1, it has a lot to do with path and direction. And so a lot of times when we're at the end of the year, we really want to address the direction and path we're going to. So the first question, and these questions are based on what a lot of people ask in readings, if you're wondering, but also what questions really come out for me personally when I'm working in the records. And so what direction is my soul inviting me towards? Right? What direction is my soul inviting me towards? And you can insert this next year, although as I want to disclose in the records, the time is non-linear. So that means past, present, and future happening at the same time. Whenever you ask this question, it is something that's relevant and alive for you. So we're going to address that. And so I think we've kind of touched on this already in the introduction. But because many people can be watching this, and this is like a collective message, is to actually pay attention to that inner calling and where this energy is guiding you towards. There are some things that you may think there are unfinished business as well. And this has a lot to do with like that growth and development. So it's more about not just soul, but the energy kind of taking you in the direction where there is some like momentum for elevation, for growth, for exploration, for curiosity. One of the things that the record's really saying is don't get hung up on the direction itself. Really listen to that inner voice and the energy that's guiding you. And this may look like it goes into one direction and that direction opens up, another layer of where you're supposed to go, right? There's not like a gigantic, directional thing for each year. It's more about where's the energy right now? Where's that inner voice guiding me? And where is that opportunity for like growth, expansion? Now stay in that space as long as it's needed, meaning if the direction is really pointing you towards particular healing in certain area or developing certain skills, stay in that energy as long as there's no energy, as long as you don't feel like the need to stay there. So the direction also includes the quality of the depth. There's something about really going into the depth here, when it comes to soul calling you or inviting you towards, is the depth of healing, the depth of growth. A lot of you are very much on a spiritual path already. You're spiritually awakened. Otherwise, you would not be drawn to this video because it's very spiritual. So stay and really mine, explore. Some of you are called to do that in the records. If you feel like this is somewhere where you feel drawn to, not just to develop your skill, but to go into that depth of healing, of perception, of evolution and consciousness. Some of you, it is the depth of, again, relationships may be really important this year, is exploring that with yourself and others. So listen to that inner voice and energy. Stay as long as you need to in that space of exploration to bring out the depth in healing, in growth, in elevation, in consciousness. So this is the question number 1. Now, when it comes to inner healing, this is a big topic as well for people. Question number 2 is what healing or some healing like inherited patterns or, patterns in general, is needed? What healing is needed for me to walk my path with clarity and confidence, right? Because we all want to have that confidence that we're walking our soul's path. But again, the records very interestingly is bringing the concept of confidence. And this is more of like a human perception of confidence. The spiritual perception of confidence is inner peace and discernment. So, if you have that inner peace and discernment, that's the first thing that's coming from the records, is that's really going to allow you, right? Like that's going to be the indication that the healing process is sort of complete, and remember the depth of the healing that we're looking. So when it comes to patterns, a lot of times these patterns take root in the ancestral, and that's what they're bringing me to. And this ancestral lineage in the records refers to your soul group. It can be a part of your family, certainly, but it can also be a part of collective, right? Whatever soul group is active for you at the moment that you're asking this question around healing. A lot of times, this is what's been coming out lately. It's this imposter syndrome. And that's the pattern that I'm really referring to. And this is touching on so many different things, and particularly identity or ego identity. So it's calling you to really be more authentic and really comfortable in your own skin. There is this putting on the mask that's been going on for quite a long time for a lot of us. What does that mean? In many lifetimes, because the records really encompasses our soul journey, we had to put these masks or abandon certain principles that we truly, or values that we truly believed in, and put in a mask so that we can fit into society, fit into our family, fit into even our soul group. And really we stand out even if we put on that mask. So what the records are really, what's coming through is that you're called into stepping into that authenticity. So sometimes this healing can really be about accepting yourself for who you truly are. It can also be, because there's different energies here and slightly different alterations to this pattern, it can also be, where am I not authentic as enough? Where am I trying to blend in and really people please, right? This could also be people pleasing, really fitting in, really trying to compare yourself to others, really trying to, right, minute yourself, really trying to follow certain rules and regulations of the collective and the society. So this can kind of be a different manifestation of this imposter pattern. And again, I'm just giving it the different, different variations of it. But the whole point is that's where the healing is really guiding you to being more authentic, being more aligned with what your truth truly is, what you are, who you are, your unique expression. That's all a part of this journey, right? That of healing that I'm seeing in the records, okay? And that's once when you sort of start to follow that pattern, and really healing can be many different things, where what's coming through the records is, again, healing can be very unique to each of you. It is a process, so there's no need to cut corners here. Again, listen to that energy and inner voice guiding you into the next step only in healing this. You don't need to be, when I said depth in the first question, I didn't mean we're just going to depth. There's obviously steps to that, getting to that depth of healing. So for some of you, the first step could be accepting yourself, bringing yourself into that space of, alignment with your inner child, accepting your inner child, accepting things that you've done in the past, accepting things where you've made mistakes maybe, right? Not being that perfectionist self That could also be one variation of this pattern is, how do I fit in? I got to be perfect and perfection according to societal norms, right? A very deep pattern, ancestral pattern, collective pattern for a lot of us, rooted right in that fitting in and that being imposter if we don't. Okay, so we're going to move into question number 3. And that is, for a lot of us, important, right? What soul gifts am I called to express at this time? This could be referring to the next year as well. And again, it's very interesting because in the records, I don't really see this as gifts. What they're calling it to do is embrace more of your own self and your own spirituality. And how does that really look like for you? It's not so much about, activating the gifts as much as it is being in the state of coherence and alignment with your innermost self or with your higher self. This is the soul's gift. It's really being that spiritual space of, how do I align? How do I honor the higher self that wants to come through? For a lot of you, it is about sharpening your intuition. It is about speaking to your guides, but it's really being in that space where you are listening to your higher self, where you're embracing your spirituality and being in the space of where you feel like spiritually, like open, aligned, really clear, where your channels are very clear and receptive. So all of these things are really referring to just being open, to being like spiritually clear, to being receptive to guidance, to being in a state of being where you feel really open for, with your higher self. This could mean going into, again, deeper states of meditation. For some of you, could be channeling. It could be calling you right into like those deeper states of connection and embodiment of your higher self, of your soul self, innermost self, however you want to call it. It's the same names for the same aspect of self that resonates with the soul. So that's what you're really called. And this is really more regarding, right, soul's purpose, soul's gifts. That's the question. Now, question number 4 is, what energetic adjustments will help me live in more harmony with my soul? And essentially, the first thing that I'm getting is a very direct answer, and it has a lot to do, first of all, with energy itself. So managing your energy, really aligning your energetic, sort of like activating your light body. If you don't know how to do that, there are many ways to do that. Balancing your chakras, and they're saying expanding specifically to the soul star chakra. This is above your head. If you're not familiar with this chakra, it is the one that is about 18 inches above our head, above the crown chakra. So it's called soul star chakra. If it could be called many different things on the internet, but just know that you are meant to open to more photonic light as well. To kind of touch on the question that we had, which was number 3 previously, about embodiment of your higher self. It's going to activate this chakra. It's important that we honor it. It is a distinction. Also, this chakra represents distinction between, right, our collective soul, our individual soul. This is where the soul becomes individualized in the body. So another thing that could help you is as well grounding yourself, being present in your body and connecting your light frequencies and your light body and your everything that is around energy. When your energy is balanced, really being grounded into your grid. I know I'm using a lot of language that's metaphysical in nature, But if you start with just balancing your chakras, and if you include, right, all of the chakras, maybe a 13 chakra system, if you're drawn to that, right, balancing them through meditation, through sound therapy, and then you start to acknowledge the light body. A lot of that refers to our Merkabas. You can look that up as well. Different really things for different people as to the way that can be done. And then as well, like grounding yourself and imagining that all of your chakras, all of your light body is in harmony with your physical body, all working together, and then grounding that into the planet. It is important that your grid, a grid is like our, what really holds the chakras and our light body. But if you again, we don't have enough time to dive so much into this particular question, and a lot of these words are metaphysical, so use your discernment as to what this means and do a little more research. But the grid that we have holds our light body, right? It's at a root of our light body, holds our chakras. When this is connected, right, to the upper echelon, right, to our photonic light, and then grounded into our space, below our feet, you're going to feel much better, and that's going to really allow you to receive energetically as well as spiritually. Okay, now we're going to move it along. When it comes to discernment, question number 5 is around decision making. What decision making frame would really align me with my highest truth? And right away, I'm getting this openness to spiritual perspective. And when the truth really matches your inner truth, then the decision making is very easy. What they're bringing about as well in the records, which is what we often use in the Akashic work, especially if you're working with a method I use, is this inner triangle of heart, mind, and will. When these 3 components are aligned, then our spiritual truth is our personal truth, and that helps us making choices and decisions that are really authentic and conscious and that are best for us and highest good, right? Taking that appropriate action that is really for the benefit of ourselves and others. Now, really with this triangle, you want to check in how you feel about this decision, because the thoughts can create a very interesting pattern, they're saying in the records, right? The mind can have one pattern and the thoughts can, right? We can think one thing, feel another, and then not really be willing to do anything about it, or the appropriate action doesn't come easy. So start with what you think the decision should be and what the mind is saying about it, then bring it to the heart and what you feel about it, and see if what the next step you think you or feel you can do, and see if there is misalignment between the mind, the heart, and the will. And one of the ways to do that is if there is misalignment, then you can ask, what would make more sense, right, to the mind to do? How can I align my heart, or how can I align my mind to my heart, right? Play with this triangle of mind, heart, and will. Bring your decisions to this triangle, make adjustments that really resonate, and ask yourself above all, is this the truth that I'm ready and willing to live with? Does this resonate as a spiritual truth? Can it resonate as a personal truth? Okay, that's really what they're bringing about when it comes to discernment. Question number 6, which qualities can I embody so I can align with my soul? This is a question around identity, whether personal or soul identity. One of the things that a lot of us, and the first thing is coming from the records, is the quality of compassion, but not in a way that you see them, where compassion just mean mercy, but also compassion can mean many different expressions of compassion. And it can be compassion towards yourself equally to the others. Compassion can mean kindness, goodwill, right? We mentioned mercy as well. But compassion can be any heart-centered expression that really is opening your heart. So compassion is a big quality that comes through. Another quality is that discernment that we just mentioned. Really honoring that inner voice and embodying the inner voice. An inner voice can sound different for different people, right? Like it can be that voice of intuition, excuse me, I'm losing my voice over here. Can be like that voice of intuition, the energy of softness. And that also leads us to this third quality that they're bringing about, and that is the quality of grace. Grace can mean many different things. Again, this is an expression. We can say that it's all connected to compassion, right? Discernment and grace. Grace can be that giving yourself grace, like giving yourself time and space, and grace like a break, right? Like honoring. But grace can also be the divine grace, right? And it's not the religious kind of grace we're speaking of, although religious grace is beautiful, but we're speaking of the grace, right, that really comes from the divine presence. So if you can embody and open yourself up to the divine presence in moments where you really feel connected in your heart to spirit, divine, your soul, your higher self, that's another thing that can help you align with your soul. Okay? Number 7 is, what spiritual support will best nourish my alignment with my soul? Now, this is interesting because spiritual support, they're saying, can come in many forms, but when it comes to what you're really asking for, so start from understanding, what type of spiritual support do I need? Am I really looking for healing, spiritual healing, or am I looking for more of a spiritual support in a sense of guidance? Am I looking for, they're saying, do I turn left or right? Right decision making, spiritual support. So spiritual support comes in many forms. So you want to be really specific as to what you're looking for. And you also want to be open that the spiritual support comes in forms that you don't expect. And a lot of times the spiritual support does not have to come from the other side. It can come from people in your life, right? So that's something to really remember, right? Be precise as to what spiritual support you're looking for and be open to it coming from different places and some that you don't expect from that they're coming from. And final question here is, who am I meant to collaborate and co-create with this year? This is referring to, right, relationships. And it's very interesting because what the records are bringing to your awareness, to all of our awareness, is that, again, opening up to new people. There are people that are part of your soul group that perhaps you have not reached out yet to, these higher vibrational beings that also could be on the other side, right? Like you may be introduced to new guides to collaborate and co-create with. And also, in essence, you may be introduced to new communities, new people, and new relationships. People that are very much really awaiting for you to step into your power and to embrace your truth of who you truly are. Some of these people are not in your area. Maybe you'll meet them as you travel. Maybe you meet them in a town next to you. Maybe they travel to you. There's also some reunions for some of you with people. Again, this is not a psychic reading, but a possibility from people from your past returning into your life. Now, if you don't want people from your past, of course not. But when I say people from the past, what I'm sensing in the records is people from your childhood, right? Like really reconnect. Maybe you're visiting your hometown and reconnecting to these people. Maybe you're meeting some people where there has been a significant amount of time that's passed and you're reconnecting to your roots and therefore meeting them there, but in a different space and state. These people have gone through transformations and so have you. Now, this is relating to what you can collaborate with them. For some of you, it'll be a very professional collaboration where you are going to be drawn to these communities for the purposes of you and these groups or these people having the same purpose. For some of you, it's more personal, where you are renewing and rebuilding these relationships based on your own will, if you want to. And don't worry, you don't have to really take it literally like you have to rebuild it. It's up to you, right? You reconnect and you see where that leads you on a human level. That's what's coming through the records, right? It's really going to be an open-ended thing for you, but just know that there is value in both building new relationships and reconnecting to the old ones, because the collaboration will inspire you in your own life and really light you up. These relationships, as I mentioned in the beginning of this collective reading, can be quite inspiring and could be a very important topic and theme for next year as well. And this is where I'm going to leave you. If you really enjoyed this video, please, again, like, subscribe, share it with other people in your spiritual community. I hope this has served you and helped you. Of course, I will be posting more of the videos, so make sure you hit that notification bell to be notified when I do. Take this reading with the questions that really resonate with you. You can go through the entire reading or just kind of connect to the questions that resonate the most. And then if you're interested in getting some more personalized guidance, I will leave the links in the description. And if you're interested in learning more about the Akashic Records and learning how to do and read it for yourself and maybe even others, I'll leave those links in the description. I teach classes. You can start with some intro classes or jump right into certifications as well. I'm sending you lots of love and light from the Akasha and for myself, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.